Hi everyone and welcome. Thank you to click on this video which shows a presentation of my plugin Runtime Visualizer. This plugin was designed to solve a major native limitation in Unreal Engine, the invisibility of control rig shapes during rendering, especially when using the movie render queue. This tool allows you to link custom static meshes to your joints or controllers, all driven by a powerful data table system. This tool offers two visualizer modes, AnimSequence and Control Rig. In this video, I will walk you through the complete workflow for both. Let's start with the first mode, AnimSequence. The first step is to select a skeletal mesh, which we use as a reference to build the blueprint. For this example, I will drop the mm, Manny Simple, the Manny Simple skeletal mesh. Next, we need to configure the generation setting. In this mode, you have two options. The first option is a checkbox, use many Unreal Engine convention. If you enable this, the tool automatically generates a data table using the standard Epic Game naming convention. It bypass totally and it bypass manual selection and assign a pre-configured shape to specific bones. This is perfect if your character use the standard Unreal Engine skeleton. The second option is the shape override. If you prefer, the tool can analyze your skeletal mesh hierarchy and assign a single default shape to every joint in the generate data table. For instance, if I select a solid sphere, I will apply it across the board. Now that the generation settings are ready, we just need to define where to save our assets. You can manually copy and paste your destination folder, like game, character, and other. Copy this file path and paste directly in the destination folder. But to speed things up, I've included a Save Path button. Clicking this Save Your Current Path to a quick load drop-down, just here, and it is permanently stored in your project settings. Speaking of which, when the plugin is enabled, a new menu called Runtime Visualizer Project Settings under the plugins category appears in your standard project settings. Here, you can manage your saved folder array, just here. Finally, give your character a name. For, for this example, I use the Manny character name and hit the Generate Setup button. The tool has just created two assets for us, a custom data table, just here, under the data folder, and a visualizer blueprint. Let's open the blueprints to check the result. The best part is that you don't need to touch the event graph at all. Everything is pre-configured in the class default under the Runtime Visualizer configuration tab. Here you can see our data table and skeletal mesh are properly assigned. You also have color settings for the left, right, and center shapes, and a main boolean called use show controls. Let's enable this boolean and click on simulate. As you can see, our static mesh shapes are perfectly attached to the character joints. To show you how flexible this is, let's go back directly in the tool. Let's go back to the widget, disable the many convention, and use a shape override. So I use a solid sphere and click the generate again. The tool updates the existing data table without breaking anything. If you simulate again, the new shape are instantly applied. As you can see, we have a sphere solid. Perfect. The first BP working correctly. Now let's switch to the second mode, the control rig. When we switch a tab, a new input appears asking for a control rig class. I drop the Manny control rig in there. Mannequin body. The Manny convention on shape override settings work exactly the same way here, but we also unlock a powerful new feature, sync data table from control rig, just here. This is a beta feature that extracts the actual shape settings directly from your active control rig and bakes them into your data table. A quick running through. This feature scans all controllers, including logical ones like IKFK switch. The tool does its best to filter them, but you may need to manually clean up unwanted lines in your data table later. Everything looks good. Let's hit generate once again. It creates our two assets. One data table, like just here, and a new blueprint. So, how do we actually use this in the animation workflow? Let's create a level sequence to find out. I create a level sequence. I have my sequencer. Perfect. I drag and drop my first blueprint animation sequence version into the sequencer. Move up. Important note, if Unreal automatically add a control rig track, like here, just delete it. Simple. Now add your animation sequence to the skeletal mesh track and add a track for our use show control boolean to turn the system on. I will add and track the animation, drag forward, perfect, and I track on my blueprint my boolean use show control. I enable it. For the animation sequence visualizer, you need to press simulate or play in editor to see the shape dynamically follow the animation. Perfect. Now, let's do the same with the second blueprint, the control rig version. Up. Perfect. Unlike the previous one, the rig visualizer works directly in the editor viewport. You don't need to press simulate, just enable and just track the boolean and the shape appears instantly. I track directly the boolean show controls, enable hit. Wow, magic, perfect. You can now grab the controller, animate your character, and the shape will automatically track the movement in real time. For example, if I take this controller, I rotate, the static mesh shape follow the rotation of my controllers. To wrap things up, you can bake your animation and render your sequence using the movie render queue. Both blueprints will successfully render your custom static mesh shape exactly as you see them in the viewport.